What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Home Built Workshop and welcome to Wednesday Live. Right on. What is happening? Oh, I almost forgot the microphone. Get this thing on here. No, that's not in the right spot. There we go. Let's move it over here. All right. Let's see here. We're going to get everything set. What's everybody up to this fine Wednesday morning? And how's everybody doing? Bring up the chat. I need the chat. Hey, dude's here. What's up, dude? How's it going? Here it says, what's up? I got to move this over so I can see it a little better. Oh, I'm moving the camera. There, it's a little, now it's a little closer to the chat. And Dastardly Dave's here too. What's up, Dave? Dave says, sup all. What's up, Dave? And Dallo's here. Dallo says, good Wednesday. Good Wednesday to you too, Dallo. How's everything going in your world? Right on. Robert's here. Robert says, howdy, people. Right on. What's up? What's up? Right on. Anselm says, good morning. Sorry if I said that wrong. Good morning to you. What's going on? Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. That's awesome. I got to bring up the preview so that I can make sure everything's good here real quick. And then it's off to the races, as they say. Right? Isn't that what they say? Why is it not showing? How come it never shows? I don't understand that. That's interesting. Well, what's everybody up to? What's going on in your world? Type that in real quick while I'm searching for this darn live stream so that I can play it up here. I can't bring it up ahead of time. I wish you could, because then I'd have it ready. But I don't know why it doesn't let you. And apparently it doesn't, well, it's not letting me now either. What's up with that? Yeah, what's everybody working on? Let's see. Adela says wildfires are devouring a lot here. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. That is not good. Not good. That's one thing that I just don't, I have no use for. Well, I mean, nobody does really, but man, that's just something that, it's just the worst. Wildfires are terrible. We had a pretty bad grass fire. Well, maybe it was 2 weeks ago or so. But, yeah, thankfully it didn't burn anybody's, any residence or anything. A couple outbuildings or something like that. But I think it was like 2,000 acres. Robert says video's a little slow on the sync and it's a bit bright, but close enough. A bit bright. Well, that's why I'm trying to bring up the preview so that I can see what in the world is going on. I can adjust the audio. That's not a problem. So the video is slow, huh? So let's do this. Let's put this back to 0. Close that out. Let me know if that makes a difference, because I have changed that around. Why won't it let me see the video that is live at this exact second? Anybody know? This is weird. It shows me last week's video and all the other videos. Do I have to go into this? Does it take a few minutes? Is that why? I don't know. Sorry about this, guys. I'm trying to figure this out. Give me a moment, because I really like to be able to watch this. I'm gonna have to play around. I don't know why it's not working. It's not showing up anywhere. I don't get it. Not in the YouTube app. Why would it not show up in the YouTube app? Or on the YouTube Studio thing. I don't get it. I don't understand. That's where I've seen it before. that's just weird. I can't explain this technology stuff. But anyway, I guess we're just going to have to wing it. I'm going to rely on you guys to let me know if something has gone awry. Yeah, this is weird. I don't know. Heck with it. I don't have time for this. We got stuff to talk about. Anyway, sorry about that. That was very unprofessional. So anyway, Kizzy's here. Kizzy says, good morning. Trying to decide if I should build a bathroom vanity or just buy one. That's always kind of the great question, right? Though all of us that like to build things and do things ourselves rather than, build versus buy, that's always the hard thing to decide, right? I guess there's a few things that I take into consideration. One is cost, right? What's it going to cost to buy the materials versus, buying a finished vanity? I don't know. Sometimes, depending on the project, you'll save money. Sometimes you won't. But I think what's more to it is just having that satisfaction, really, for me. It's like, if I'm going to spend, more on buying maybe good plywood or whatever to build a vanity, it's about the satisfaction. Just, yep, I built that. I did that myself. I don't know. It's sometimes hard to decide. And it all depends on what your end goal is, really. If you're just trying to do it yourself, absolutely. If you're trying to save money, it depends. I don't know. There's not one clear answer. So I like to do things myself, but I think given my situation, my shop space at this exact time, if I had to build, cabinets, kitchen cabinets or something like that, I just don't have room to work on projects like that. I'd have to literally do it outside. And I don't know what the weather's going to do. So that's another thing that, helps determine if I'm going to tackle a project or not. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say go for it. Robert says video is just a bit ahead. Oh, so did I go too far? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what I'm hearing? That I went too far with it? The video is ahead. Oh, so I need to go back a bit? Let's try that. I am using the webcam again, as opposed to trying to use the GoPro. I'm done trying to use that GoPro for pretty much anything other than a few B-roll shots. But right now we're using the webcam. That will be changing hopefully at some point as I'm trying to get something else set up. But for now, I think the quality is halfway decent, and I don't know, halfway decent and acceptable for the moment. Let's see. Robert says, sometimes in the past I've had to do a search to find the current live stream. That's weird. I don't know why. Why would it not show up? I don't quite get it. I should be able to go right to the darn app and see that there's a live, but it doesn't. I don't understand it. So if I go right into the app and I go to my videos and I go to lives, it doesn't show. It literally does not show my live video. It shows the live from last week, but it doesn't show that there's anything live right now. Like, how weird is that? Anyway, Tony's here. Tony says, morning, sunshine. Good morning, Tony. How are you doing this fine Wednesday? And what's on your workbench? Time Surfing, what's up? Time Surfing says, I hear what you say before I see your lips move. I backed that off, so let me know if it's better or if I need to go a little bit farther. Robert says, main benefit for building it oneself is it can be done just the way you like. Robert, that's a great point, and I'm glad you said that. Kizzy, that's another really, really important aspect to doing things yourself, right? If you go to the home center and you want to buy a vanity, yeah, you could buy a vanity, but maybe there's some weird space in where you need to build it. Maybe you need one that's a couple inches wider. Maybe you need one that's a couple inches narrower. You can't necessarily get that if you buy one that's pre-made. So that's a great argument for building it yourself. You can build it, if you want it a little bit wider, which sometimes might be nice, right? Have a little more counter space, maybe on the side of the sink or whatever. And I think that would be great. And by being able to build it yourself, I mean, that'd be pretty cool. A hair dude says, yeah, audio is ahead. Darn it, still? All right, I'm going to change it again. Audio is ahead. So I'm going to delay the audio by there. I've put a delay on the audio. I don't know if it's enough of a delay. So, you guys tell me. Kizzy says it's like watching one of those Japanese movies where they dub over. Anime, Time Surfing says. Tony says audio's ahead. Drizzy Guitars, what's up? What's going on? Morning. Thanks for tuning in. I'm playing with some new settings here, trying to get the audio in sync. So do not attempt to adjust your TV set. Don't adjust the rabbit ears. Is that any better though? I need to know. If not, I'll keep going. Which is weird because when it was on the GoPro, the audio was actually ahead. Isn't that weird? So I had to have it set way ahead. Now I've got it delayed to get everything to sync up. Now Tony says no, it's not better. Well, that's not cool. So the mic is there. All right. Hopefully that's better. I'm relying completely on all of you. So anyway, so what's everybody been building? Things around here have been going pretty good, really. Of course, we're on week 2 of spring break from school, so the kiddo's been here hanging out with me. Right now, she's spending some time with some family, but we've been holding down the fort, trying to get some work done as well as spending some time with her and doing some things together. I just finished uploading a video, got that all scheduled for this weekend, and also the instrument cable video from last weekend. I'm super happy that the way that video is going. Like it's doing really well. Like that was just a fun project that that I wanted to do because I need some cables and I want to put some cables with that bass guitar, and the video is actually doing really good. So that is awesome, and so thank you to all of you for watching the video and hitting the thumbs up and all that thing. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Appreciate it. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I got that done last week. Got a kind of a talking head style video for this weekend, and then I'm working on getting ready to start on a couple more videos. One is that sandpaper rack. Remember we talked about that sandpaper little cabinet thingy? I picked up some hardboard yesterday. Right here, some 1/8 inch hardboard. I'm gonna just use that for the shelves. You don't need anything fancy, just something to hold the sandpaper apart. So I got that here, and I just got to finish drawing it out so I actually have some hard dimensions to work off of, and we'll get started on that. Kizzy says, should I use 1/2 or 3/4 inch ply once I decide that? Probably, I would probably go with 3/4. Oh, I think Time Surfing's got some insight there too. So, yeah, Time Surfing says 1/2 on the interior, 3/4 on the outside. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say all 3/4 if you had it available, but you absolutely could use 1/2 on the inside. I would build the outer box out of 3/4 for sure. You want that durability and the strength that you'll get. Anselm says, so true. You get what you need when you build it yourself. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Robert says, just got the notification for the live show, so may show on the preview now. Oh. Robert says, I did watch the cable building video. Right on. Thank you, Robert. I'm going to check the preview again. It's just so, I just don't understand why it doesn't show up like it should. How can it be so far behind? It's not showing there. This is kind of lame, actually. Yeah, there's nothing showing. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, Kizzy says, the time surfing says, that makes sense. What if I want to do a bottom drawer instead of a faux top drawer at the top? Put a drawer in the bottom if you want to do that. Yeah, that's the other cool thing about doing it yourself. Like you said, if you want a drawer down there, build the dang drawer down there. You get to do it however you want to do. And that's the beauty of literally building anything yourself, right? You can customize it. I don't care what it is. Building a guitar, building a cabinet, building a knife, building anything. You get to do it how you want to do it. And that's the fun. It's kind of like I said in that instrument cable video. If you want a, weird size, you want an 11.5-foot cable or a 9-foot 3/4, you can do that for, whatever the application is. A 17-foot 3.5-inch cable, you can do it. You can't go to the store and buy that. That's just the fun part. Time Servant says a drop lid for the top. Now, that'd be cool. Kizzy, I want it to have feet instead of sitting on its frame, soaking up the water. Oh, the kids don't clean up. I know what you mean. I know exactly. And that's a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. Time Surfing says fake drawer front with a hinge to let it drop instead of pull. Yeah, that's a good idea too. But yeah, I like that. You put it up on feet so it's not, so instead of building like that riser where your toe kick would normally be, you basically, if I'm understanding correctly, you wouldn't even need a toe kick, right? So it'd be more of a, I don't know what you'd call it. More of a, I want to say vanity, but it is a vanity, like a footed dresser thing. I don't know. There's a word I can't think of at the moment. But yeah, you just basically, I think, wouldn't build the riser. You just build the box, and then you'd have your feet on there. That's a good idea. Keep it off the floor. Because, yeah, there's always water. Always water on the floor. That is so true. I think you should do it yourself. I've made my decision. So, I think that's what you should do. You already have some specific requirements, and that's another reason, right? Sometimes you have specific requirements like that, and that means that the only way to get those requirements is you're doing it yourself. And I think you should. I think you should. I've made up my mind, 100%. Got my coffee here. It's tasty stuff. Let's see. Time Surfing says makeup vanity has feet. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Robert, just to be sure, whatever finish you apply on both the inside as well as outside, anytime you use plywood where it may be exposed to moisture. Yes. Yep. Be sure whatever finish you apply. A nice water-resistant finish. That's a good idea. Absolutely. So it has been so nice here. I don't know about where all of you are, but in this part of the world, it has been amazingly warm. There's been days where I've gone quite a while without a beanie. Usually in the afternoons, it's been getting super warm. We were in the low 70s yesterday. Supposed to be there like tomorrow and Friday are supposed to be in the 70s. I think today's supposed to be pretty close. It is so awesome. Feels like spring, but I'm not holding my breath yet because I know our weather. Our weather's weird around here. It'll get like this, and then, tomorrow, not literally, but it'll be nice for several days, and then boom, we'll get a snowstorm. And that could happen all the way up until May, like the middle of May, towards the end of May. I remember quite a few years ago, the next to last day of school for the year, which is in May, was a snow day. I mean, and it wasn't like a little dusting. It was like 8 to 10 inches, if I remember correctly. It was quite a bit of snow. So I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but man, am I enjoying this warm weather. I've been doing a bunch of cleanup outside, just getting things cleaned up from over the winter. I got rid of a bunch of scrap stuff that just accumulates, Had a guy come by and like pick up scrap you know, stuff that he hauls to the scrapyard every once in a while. So that was awesome. Just I really liking that you know, this weather in this time of year, to where you don't have to bundle up so much. You can leave the door open from time to time in the shop. And one thing that I'm going to be doing really soon, maybe today or tomorrow, is I'm going to open the door and I'm going to take the air hose and basically blast everything with the air hose with the doors open to get all that dust and stuff out of there. And it's one of my favorite times of year. I don't know why. I just enjoy that. Just getting things kind of cleaned up. Super good. Time Servant says, the 8 inches we got is a distant memory now. Almost like it didn't happen. Yeah, it's funny how that works. We have no snow on the ground or anything at the moment. And it's been incredible weather. But, like I said, I'm sure we're going to get more snow before the end of the year. Or before the end of the spring. So anyway, what the heck we got coming up? Like I said, I have the sandpaper, the sandpaper shelf, the cabinet. I don't know what to call it. Sandpaper cabinet. Oh, I got to work out. I just thought about this. I got to work out whether or not I should put a door on the front. I don't think so. I want to be able to just grab a sheet and go. So basically, what I'm planning to do with that is this hardboard will be just kind of in. It'll slide into some grooves in the side. Put my sandpaper in there. I'm excited. I haven't figured out exactly where it's going to go yet, as I've been kind of brainstorming. It's all going to depend on how big overall the thing is. That's why I need to actually draw it up, because I want to have a slot, probably at least an inch, maybe a little more for each grit. Yeah, maybe an inch might be all right. And then it'll just depend on how tall overall the thing is. So I got to spend a few minutes in Fusion and just do a little bit of drawing and just modeling it up. Time Servant says, still have my snowball in the freezer. Right on, awesome. That'll be cool. Like in July, you can pull it out and then maybe like put it in a glass of lemonade or something. Time Servant says, like an in-out box for paper. Exactly. Pretty much the exact same idea. You know, a bunch of shelves, except again, instead of just using an inbox, I want to customize it to the way I want it, and I'll just have a whole bunch of shelves, you know, basically starting with the coarsest grits, you know, 40 or something like that, 80, 120, 220, 320, 420, all the way up to, I don't know, like 2,500 kind of thing. So it's gonna have a lot of shelves. Hopefully I got enough hardboard here. I got basically 2 2x4 pieces. So I think it's gonna be plenty, probably a little extra. But yeah, it's going to be exactly the same thing. And I just think it'll work really well, because right now my sandpaper is all in a mess. And I realized this when I was sanding on the bass guitar neck. You know, I was trying to work up through the grits. I'd have to go scrounging through a pile of different grits of paper, and it's just not a great way to store it. So we're going to take care of that, get it fixed up. Times Room says 420 is the best grit. What? I guess it's 400 that I have. But I know what you're saying. So, but yeah, I'm excited to get started on that. And then the other project that I'm working on, and I might start filming that today, because I could probably film a majority of it fairly quick, is I got a hack. I got a productivity hack for you. At the drill press especially. But you could use it for pretty much any power tool within reason. So yeah, I think I might start on that, because it'd probably go pretty fast. Robert says, been watching videos from Arizona, Utah, and Washington and Oregon. People in those videos are all saying their weather is way off from normal, less winter type weather. I can imagine that. I know ours has been different for quite a few years. And I know the weather where I'm from, the weather back east is not quite the same either. Of course, you know, 800 years ago when I was growing up back east in Pennsylvania, it seems like when it was wintertime, it was winter all winter, right? It would snow, I don't know, November-ish, sometimes even the end of October, and it just seems like you'd have snow until March, end of February, middle of March kind of thing. It would just be winter. That's just the way it was. I remember so many times as a kid, you know, you'd bundle up for Halloween and you couldn't even see your costume necessarily because you had to bundle up in a snowsuit. And that was just what we did. And now it's not like that. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird. The times, they are a-changin'. Sam's here. Sam, where have you been? I'm just kidding. Sam says, hey, everyone. What's going on, Sam? How are you doing? How's the weather in the UK? Kizzy says, man, thanks, y'all. The bathroom vanity will be the focal point for choosing the flooring and wall colors. So, do I go with paint or stain? Stain. That's my preference. I don't like to paint wood, but that's just me. Maybe a milk paint. You could do a milk paint where you can sort of see the wood through there. That might be cool. If it fits what you're going for. I don't know. It's up to you. I always try to avoid like just a solid paint though. I don't know why. I hate painting wood. I don't know. I'm just weird like that. It's up to you. You do it. You finish that however you want. Yeah, if you want it more of a color, maybe a milk paint or one of those, you know, different colored milky type looking stains, and then you can put a satin finish over top of that. I don't know. The sky's the limit. You do it how you want. But yeah, I think you need to build it. Sam says the video is out of sync with the audio. Well, Sam, we've been playing with that. We've been trying to figure that out. What? So is the audio still ahead? Do I need to back the audio up? I need to know. I need to know these things. They're important. Sam says weather's good. Thank you. Time serving. Stain will require additional finish. Yeah, that's what I was saying. You stain in some sort of a satin over there. Jimmer! Jimmer's here. Jimmer says, Jeff said wood. Jimmer, what's going on, man? What's on the lift today? What are you working on? Right on. Let me know on the audio. Lips are behind. So I backed everything up too far. Right? Is that what I'm seeing? So if no, the audio is coming in first. Okay. I think that's what I'm understanding. So I need to back this up more? Wow. All right. Tell me if that's any better. I went 200 milliseconds back. I don't know how far off it is, but Robert says, right there with you. I prefer stain over painting as well. Yeah, I don't know why. I just don't like to cover up wood. I get it that some wood is more of a paint grade kind of thing, but I just don't like painting wood. Harry Dude says, audio ahead of video still. Darn it. Kizzy says, I'm so sick of painted wood. I'm in the right place. Yeah, I believe that wood looks so cool on its own. Even this hardboard right here, right? Hardboard it's not even wood. It's some engineered something. I would not paint that. I don't know why. I'm weird. There's just something neat about that. I don't know what, not really, but I don't know. I wouldn't paint it. I just don't like painting wood. You know, maybe like if you're painting some sort of decorative element or something like that, that's a little different. But overall, I just don't like painting furniture. A lot of people will buy these old dressers and stuff like that. I'm sure you've all seen them. You know, and they'll paint them up, and you know, actually they look quite nice. But I just don't like it because now it's painted, and if somebody wants to ever go back and you got to strip that paint off there, ay. So I say just don't mess with painting it. There's a time and a place, I think, but it's not something I like to do. Sam says, don't get backed up. See the dock if it continues. I heard it says audio at least half a second. What? I got to go farther. Oh, Harry Dude, how did the moving go? Hopefully everything went well. Did you get everything everything moved into place and set up. There, I backed the audio up quite a lot, so it may have gone the other way. But yeah, how did all that go? Did you get everything sorted out? Time Surfing says paint would allow for using a lower grade wood. It does. It does. Like, you know, even in like the house, you know, trimming out a house, you know, a lot of people use the paint grade stuff because they're going to paint the trim, and I get that. I get that. I'm more talking about, you know, if I'm building I don't know, whatever. I personally don't like the paint. I don't even like painted trim. I really don't. But that's just me. Kind of weird about it. I think for like trimming outdoors and stuff, it does look fine. I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess being one that likes to make stuff out of wood, you know, we appreciate, all of us collectively, you know, we appreciate the beauty that's in wood. Even, you know, a simple piece of pine. And I just don't like to cover that up. Sam says, I refreshed and still out of sync. Huh. Kizzy says, Time Surfing, you're so right. I'm going to look at prices real quick. Yeah, that's true. I mean, again, there's so many factors, right? You build it yourself, and then it may come down to where, in order to build it yourself, you might choose to use paint grade stuff because of the cost, and you just, you know, it's whatever meets your personal needs, right? I don't know. There's not one right answer, but I do think that you should build it yourself, and then from there you just need to determine, okay, is the cost of materials that would be not paint grade, you know, maybe that cost is higher, right? And I get it. If the cost is too high, then maybe you go to paint grade and maybe you use some sort of a paint, a milk paint, or a, you know, something different. You just have to figure that out for yourself. But absolutely, I think you need to build it. Time Surfing says, I used to do trim carpentry. I get so angry when my work was covered in paint. Yes, I agree. Like I said, I get it. I totally understand, and it makes sense. And at some applications, it looks totally fine. But from your point of view, yeah, that would drive me nuts. If I make something out of wood and then somebody slaps a coat of paint over it, yeah, that really is, it would chap my hide. Isn't that the saying? I don't think that's it, but anyway. Oh, let's see. Harry Dude says, still moving. 80% moved. Organized chaos. Right on, Harry Dude. Again, I still wish I could come help, because that'd be fun. But anyway. Robert says, one of my favorite artist illustrators used to paint some of his fantasy paintings on what you call hardboard. His name was Frank Frazetta. Interesting. Sam says, organized chaos is man tidy. Harry Dude, crappy wood plus veneer. Oh, yeah, you could do that too. You know, depending on what you want to do. Use crappy wood, put a veneer over the top of certain areas. You could even use that. I'm just brainstorming here. Maybe you build the frame and, you know, the carcass, face frame and all that out of crappy paint grade stuff, right? And then when I say crappy, I don't mean, you know, absolute crap, but paint grade wood. And then you put a paint on it. But maybe you did like the drawer fronts out of like a nice piece, and you could use that as an accent. I've actually seen that done now that I think about it, where they'll paint the whole carcass, and then like the drawer fronts or cabinet fronts are actual wood. And that's kind of a cool look too. Maybe that would be a kind of a cool compromise, depending on the rest of the decor, how you have your colors and stuff set up. That might be kind of cool. Tie in some of the colors from the room into the carcass, and then actually have a, maybe you use some accent pieces of wood, some nice looking stuff on the front. There's a way to work in the best of both worlds, maybe. Good call, Harry Dude. They got my brain going. Time Surfing says, Frazetta is one of the modern masters. His granddaughter has a channel, Frazetta Girls. Interesting. I guess I'm not familiar. Maybe I'm slacking. I might have to look into that. Robert says, I've watched her channel. I think her new videos drop on Fridays. Interesting. Yeah, I gotta check that out. Yeah, I'm not up on a lot of the art. Well, I'm not really up on any of art stuff, honestly. There's a handful of channels that I try to keep up on, and other than that, I don't. Yeah, the art stuff. I'll have to have a look. And he would do his paintings on this kind of thing, huh? It's kind of cool. I mean, I guess I could see why. It's nice and smooth. Really, this is like ridiculously smooth. Of course, the backside's not. It must go through some sort of a press, I would imagine, and like a super smooth roller on one side and a textured wheel on the other. But this stuff is so cheap, inexpensive. This was like $6 or something like that, which I thought was pretty cheap, comparably to other materials. That's why I decided to use this. Plus, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. Literally a tray that slides into a thing so that I can put sandpaper sheets on. Time Servant says, Conan the Destroyer. Sam says, is it possible to cut corrugated aluminum sheets to the size of a bench saw? Make a dust extractor adapter and hook it up. Would this be effective enough or clog up way too easily? Okay, so it sounds like you're wanting to put like a sheet tin around like a table saw or something, which is a good idea. I sort of attempted to do that with mine at one point, only I used plywood. It didn't work very good, but not because the idea was bad. It was because all I had at the time was a super tiny shop vac that just didn't move enough air. If I were to have connected this to a larger dust collector, you know, a 3-4 inch dust hose kind of thing, I think it would have worked much better. But you can cut aluminum sheets. Now, when you say corrugated, I'm not 100% sure what exactly you're thinking of. When I think of corrugated metal, I think of like roofing. You know, that's like a big wavy stuff. I'm sure you're probably talking about something different. Maybe not. If it's flat and it's aluminum, you could cut it on the table saw. I've cut aluminum on mine several times, and it works fine. If it's wavy, and that is what you're referring to, I would probably use some sort of reciprocating saw, hacksaw, something like that. It's going to be a little bit more work, I believe, but yeah, you could absolutely do that. You trim it out with aluminum, seal up as many gaps as you can. I'm guessing since you're talking about connecting a dust collector to it, you're talking about a flat stuff, of some sort of a flat stock. That's what I'm thinking. Sam, oh, that is so crazy. Sam says YouTube gave me the ad at the moment I spoke. That is so weird. It always happens. Sam says YouTube's targeting. Yeah, it might be. That is interesting. But anyway, Sam, I'm not sure what I was saying was, I'm sorry about that first. What I was saying was, when I think of corrugated, I think of like wavy roofing, like metal roofing. But I don't think that's what you're talking about. I could be wrong though. If you're talking about just some flat aluminum sheet, you can absolutely cut that on the table saw. You could cut it with, you could do it with a circular saw. You can use regular woodworking tools to cut aluminum. I have cut aluminum on my table saw several times. It works great. If you do that, safety glasses are an absolute must because those little shards fly. But if it's not flat, I would not use the table saw. I would use something like a reciprocating saw, maybe a circular saw, depending on what what it is exactly. But yeah, you could totally do it. I think it's a good idea. Try to enclose that table saw. Kizzy says, heck yeah, I'm looking now, but a high moisture area, what adhesive will hold? Oh, did I miss? Can I use? Oh, pre-glued, so I don't have to deal with the contact cement. Oh yeah, for the veneer. Yeah, you totally could. And honestly, I think you could use regular veneer glue. You could use regular wood glue. I think it would hold just fine, especially as long as everything's sealed up, to where moisture's not going to get under it. I think would be fine. I would probably go a little bit overkill on the clear or whatever you're putting on top of it, just to make sure. Time Servant says aluminum can be scored and snapped. Really? That's not something I've tried. Doesn't it have to be a certain what's the word, temper? I don't know. Because I know I've bent aluminum before. I don't know. That's interesting. I'm going to have to play with that. Robert, Frazetta did covers for some of the Conan. Oh, for the Conan art. I gotcha. He did the art for the Conan. And for some of the Creepy Area and Vampirilla magazines. It's one of its movie posters in the 70s. It was a series for the original Battlestar Galactica. Interesting. Yeah, I never got into the Conan and like the comics and stuff. That's probably why I'm not familiar with that name. But that's cool though. Sam says corrugated with two sheets with the channels between, and use the channels as the extraction channels. Huh? Oh. Interesting. I think I know what you mean. Sort of. But not 100%. I guess I can't give a clear corrugated roofing with two sheets. And then the channels as extraction. Yeah, like Time Surfing said, I think I understand what you're talking about, and that is a super cool idea. I'm trying to wrap my head around how you would use it. So you'd take like a corrugated sort of a roofing style thing and you'd slap two sheets on the side, right? Is that what you're saying? And then you would somehow connect it to a port so that that whole sandwich is the extract. Can you see the smoke coming out of my head? Like that. If that's what I'm talking about, that's a super cool idea. Sam says yes. Sam, that is a great idea. I can't yet visualize how you would use it. But that would be super cool. Totally cool. It would. That's a great idea. I'm going to ponder that for a minute. I'm just soaking it in. It's an awesome idea, Sam. I give you 2 thumbs up. Time Servant says Frazetta was like Lamborghini. Didn't like you. He wouldn't paint for you. Interesting. Harry Dude says, is it Type Bond 3 for outdoors moisture happy? Yes, Harry Dude. Harry Dude, Type Bond 3 is waterproof. Type Bond 2 is water resistant. Type Bond 1 is none of the above. Type Bond 1 is indoor only. Type Bond 2, I've used Type Bond 2 for stuff that has seen some outdoor use, but if I know for a fact that it's going to be outside or see lots of moisture, yeah, Type Bond 3 would be the way to go, I think. And it probably would be how I would want to go if I was going to glue on a veneer. Yeah. So you got the 3 different ones. Type Bond 1, again, indoor use only, dry. Type Bond 2, water resistant. Type Bond 3, waterproof. Robert says Molly Hatchet also used a few of his paintings on their album covers. Interesting. Sam says, oh yeah, Sam said yes, I already saw that. Corey says, I think he's talking about a hopper from the dust from a table saw. Yeah, but he's talking about using the corrugated sandwich between wood. Oh, I see what you did there. Yeah, I got you. I'm with you, Corey. Sam, I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. And I like that thinking outside the box, like unconventional uses for things that we normally use for other conventional uses. Corey says, I think he's talking about, hopper style for a table saw to collect the dust in one focal point from the table saw. Yeah, I believe so too. But I'm trying to visualize it. I think it's an awesome idea, and there's definitely, I think there's something there. Yeah. Sam, I think you need to investigate that idea some more, because I really believe that. I think you're onto something there potentially. I'm trying to think about how I would integrate that into my setup. and I can't envision it at the moment. But yeah, I like it. I like the idea. Time Servant says, film it, Sam. Yeah, film it. Film it. We want to see it. We all would watch. 100%. Yep. Oh, is the audio better? Does it match better? I backed it up a lot, and nobody said anything. So I just would like a little confirmation if you can let me know if everything's good, because I'll be able to keep this setting for next time. And then eventually we'll switch to a different sort of camera, and we'll have to readjust everything from there. But that's okay. It's super easy to do. Time Servant says, no, it gets worse every time you mess with it. Ah! So maybe, am I going the wrong way if it's getting worse? Maybe it's not backwards. Maybe it's ahead. I'm gonna go a large adjustment the other way. I would like to get it closer. So let's do this. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Large swing the other way. So, Hair Dude says, are you sure you're adjusting the correct audio input? I'm adjusting the mic. Yeah, advanced audio properties for the mic. It's got to be. Sync offset. There we go. Yeah. Drizzy says it's about 1 second behind. Robert says it's still off. Time Serpent says it's good there. Robert says closer. Sam says perfect. Jimmer says I think you fixed it. So actually, here's the funny thing. It's where it was when we started. But somebody said it was off. And then I started backing it up from there. That's where I had it set for the GoPro. But is it perfect? Yes. I hope it is. I hope it's close. Time Servant says, oh, it's still off. Dang it. Everybody, you guys got me all excited. And Brad's here. Brad says, dang, late to the party. Brad, it's all right. What's going on? What are you working on? I'm fighting some audio issues here. Not necessarily with something being broken, but the sync is not right. There, I'm just going to keep adjusting until we get it. I'm not giving up on it. Time Servant says, very close though. Jim says, it's really close. All right, I'm going to try this, and we'll see. I'm going to try the clap. How did that look? I don't know how loud that was. Sorry if that was too loud. Robert says, I think you have it there. Come on. Come on. Time Serpent says, perfect. Keeping fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Harry Dude, how is it from Australia? You know, I don't want everything to get But that's the problem, Harry Dude. I just thought of it, right? You're in the southern hemisphere where everything like goes the opposite way. So, you know how like water swirls the opposite way down there? And maybe audio sinks the opposite way. There, I figured it out. Right on, right on. Drizzy says, almost perfect now. Kizzy says, OMG, it's spot on. Yes, Jimmer says it's good. I need to know how it is in Australia. Sam says, take into consideration that when YouTube fills channels with advertising, it's also a factor to unsynchronized streams. Yeah. Time someone says, so Harry Dude has a right hand, Jeff. No. Well, darn it. Harry Dude. Well, you do drive on the wrong side of the road. Yeah. I mean, it's that, you know, northern, southern hemisphere thing. That's funny. So good. I'm glad that everything seems decent from there. I'm going to keep that setting for now, and feel free. Like I've said before, I need you guys, to let me know that if things are off, you got to tell me, and I'm gonna try to fix it. So, Brad says, I could use a delay when speaking to the wife. Kizzy says, Harry, dude. Laughing. Drive on the wrong side of the road. Yeah, we do. We do. And Sam would agree. Isn't that weird? How in one, in different countries, one country's on the left side, one country's on the right side. There's not like any rhyme or reason to it. Here dude says audio is so close. So apparently we'd see a little there's still a tiny bit of delay. Maybe I'll try a tiny bit adjustment. Tiny, like 10 milliseconds. Time server says right hand side, so it's not wrong. Kizzy says I'd leave you. Harry dude says what about a noise gate? I am not getting in that conversation. No, thank you. I don't need that. Anyway, I got to know. Like, anybody got any projects on the works? Since we're getting into the spring, right? We're getting into springtime weather, which means, hopefully, well, Harry Dude's not. Harry Dude's coming into fall. But I guess that means you're going from 1,000,000 degrees to not quite. But anyway, here we're coming into fall. Now, see, now I can't think. We're coming into spring, and that means springtime projects, outdoor stuff. Do you guys have projects that you like to tear into in the springtime? Maybe you're building some planter beds or garden beds or something like that, which is something I've been kind of thinking about. I kind of wouldn't mind having a couple little raised garden beds, but I don't know. But I'd like to know, do you guys have projects like that? Things that you look forward to doing in the springtime? I know I look forward to the long, slow process here where I live of things slowly beginning to turn green. Yeah, it's just a cool time of year. Probably one of my favorite times of year. Just as everything greens up. I love that early spring green. But Time Server says, just my small garden. Yeah, see, that's what's kind of on my mind. I wouldn't mind doing a little something. Kizzy says, well, my daughter's pregnant, so maybe I'll start building baby furniture. There you go. There you go. Right on. Yeah, that'd be cool. There's all kinds of projects, around that. Stuff for the baby's room and different furniture and things like that. I will say that I didn't do a ton of that furniture-wise. When my daughter came, when she was born, I didn't really do a lot of that. I did a few smaller projects, with her name and just some decorations and things for the room, but I didn't build a ton of the furniture. But yeah, congrats on the upcoming little one. That's cool. Oh, Brad says congrats. Right on. Time Server says built my son's changing table when he was born. That's awesome. I kind of wish I'd have done a little more, furniture type stuff like that. The kind of downside, I don't know if you really should call it a downside. It's not a downside necessarily, but they're only with some of those things. Like if you build cribs and stuff, they're only there for a short amount of time, and then unless you build it for double duty, which that'd be kind of handy. Like it could be maybe a changing table, and then it gets used as a dresser or something later on. That would be kind of cool, something like that. But yeah, they're only in those things for so long. Robert says, I really need to get some plans for my shop I want to build. Just hoping that once the construction starts, it won't start raining about every other day. Oh, Robert, it's coming into spring. It probably will. And I don't know. It's tough, right? Trying to plan stuff like that. Who knows? We don't know what the weather's going to do. Sam says, corrugated aluminum sheet sandwiched between two flat aluminum sheets with welds epoxy with the saw slot cut in the middle. All holes but one plugged in an extraction adapter made. Yeah, I like it, Sam. I really do. I think it's a great idea. I want to see you develop that a little bit more. I really do. I'm going to keep pondering that too, because I think there's something there. Like I said, I'm I'm just not 100% sure. I don't know the exact corrugated thing that you're referring to. Time Servant says, sounds really efficient. Yeah, I think, there's something there. Something. I like that idea. And like I said, I love that outside the box kind of thinking. You know, it just sparks so many other thoughts on stuff like that. You know, a lot of us, we just think of, put a dust porch or a dust porch, a dust port on there and, just go with it. But I like that. I really do, Sam. You need to investigate that further. Kizzy says, thanks, Brad. Sam says, have you got email? Yes, Sam, I do. homebuiltshop@gmail. There you go. Homebuiltshop. You can find that, I believe, too, on all the videos. I think I've got contact information. I think I got an email in there. But anyway, there it is. It's public. It's out there. Robert says, Matthew Peach has some planter designs using fence pickets. Yes, I have built some small ones out of fence pickets before. And I really think fence pickets, I think, are a great use. For now, anyway, they're fairly inexpensive. And you can get a bundle of them, cut them down. I've got even a few of them in here that I've used as sort of shelf material. They're only like 1/2 inch thick, so they're not super sturdy. But yeah, you can use cedar. They smell great, fairly weather resistant, actually quite weather resistant. And yeah, you can get them in different lengths. Here you go, Sam. I'm going to put it in the chat. For a short time, then maybe I'll delete that one, but there you go. Copy it. If you need it now, copy it. I'm going to probably take that back down so that it doesn't remain posted like that, even though all that stuff's public anyway. But, so anyway, Kizzy says she's still in high school taking AP and dual enrollment classes on honor roll and only 16, so I'll be a 35-year-old grandma. But hey, could be worse, right? Yeah, could be worse. Right on. It's going to be fine. Sam says, got it. All right, I'm going to take it down. There we go. Mike's here. The real Mike Johnson is in the house. Mike says, good seeing y'all. Mike, what's going on? How are things? How's life treating you? How's everything going in your neck of the woods? Time Servant says, I built my raised beds from concrete block, put yard debris in the bottom, cardboard on top of that, then my homemade compost, then topsoil. Yeah, that's a good idea. Concrete blocks, yeah, that's a great option. It's not going to deteriorate for sure. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't think my little SUV would appreciate me hauling, a whole bunch of concrete blocks home. But it would work awesome though. Sam says I have a tablet for easy screenshots of chats when I moderate other channels. Oh, gotcha. Right on. Yeah, you just whoop. Right on. Robert says, I also still need to get my taxes done. Oh man, yeah. You better, if anybody hasn't completed their tax filings, at least here in the US, you better get after it. Thankfully, mine are done, returns are filed, and all of that, like everything's completely done. I got a bit of a refund on one, and I had to pay on the other, so it was basically a wash, which is always good. I mean, a refund's nice, but I'd rather it be a wash than have to owe. So, yeah, get them done. Get them done. Kizzy says, thanks, Jeff. I'm going to lose my mind without strangers on the internet. It's funny, right? It's, I don't know how to say that, actually. But yes, I know exactly what you mean, right? We interact with people in the outside world, in the real world. But there's something about just hanging and chatting with a bunch of people that share the same kind of interests and abilities, which I know there's people in my area that also share the same same DIY type things. But sometimes it's a lot harder to get a local group of people together where people can just sit and visit with each other like we're doing here. And it's kind of crazy how helpful it is to just sit with you guys and just talk about stuff. It's super cool. It probably doesn't make any sense, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Yes, we can visit with people locally, but like I said, that's hard to arrange sometimes. Where this, I don't know, it just works. It's just cool. and I'm thankful and appreciative for all of you to be able to sit and just talk about shop stuff, talk about life stuff, and just chat, and it's great. And I really do appreciate it. Let's see. So Kizzy, I know what you're talking about. I'm with you. Time Surfing says, I had a couple of trailer house on my property. I salvaged so many concrete blocks. Ah, there you go. Yeah. And Kizzy's, with a good point to Sam. Don't forget to ground all that aluminum. Yeah, it's true. Sam says, taxes automatically taken in the UK. We don't need to fill out papers unless private businesses. Yes, that's what I'm, so an individual person, you don't have to file any sort of paperwork? That would be kind of cool. A lot of times, so here they're taken out automatically as well. Like if you go to work and you're working for, some sort of a company or a business, they're supposed to take out the tax. But even though they do that, we still have to file. You still have to fill out some forms and say, you earned X amount, the employer took out X amount, and just enter in a bunch of different numbers. There's also other deductions and things you can put in there. But but if you do your own, if you're self-employed kind of thing, you got to do a little bit of different tax things. You got quarterlies and all that stuff, but we still have to all file a whole bunch of papers. It's amazing. I don't do any of that anymore. I used to do all that myself. Now I don't. I pay an awesome accountant person to do that. Our person is great. Totally, that's like the one check that I have zero problems writing, especially when I see the 30 different forms that they filed on our behalf for the taxes. So, yeah. Kizzy says, craft community, especially woodworking, is my coping mechanism. Some of the best people, including you, Jeff. Well, Kizzy, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I know what you mean. Our community is incredible. Even in the live, this sort of format, like the live stream, virtual type format, right? We're not virtual. We're all actual people, but you know what I mean. I have awesome local people here as well. It's just harder for me to connect with them because everybody's got different schedules and things. So, yeah. I appreciate that, Kizzy. Thank you so much. Time Servant says, I got to get out and prune my wild grapes. Oh, yeah. It's about grape time. Sam says, Kizzy, even with battery-powered bench saws? Oh, for grounding? I don't know. Might not hurt anything. Sam says it's taken directly from people's accounts. Oh, really? Time Servant says they take it automatically here too, but way too much, so you have to file to get what you overpaid. Yeah, that is a lot of times. You can adjust your withholding though, so they take less. And my goal is always to not have to pay, but I don't want them taking out more than they need to. Robert says to Sam, they take it out automatically, but they hardly ever get the right amount either. Too much or too little. That's why we have to file. Yeah. Time Servant says, no problem, Kizzy. Yeah, right on. Oh, because Kizzy said thanks for the help. I missed that. Brad says, I wanted to ask last week, so I'll ask now. What is the tool in the background near the blue tape? It looks like it plugs in a heating tool maybe. I know exactly what you're talking about. It is a heating tool of sorts. Let me try to do this without yanking the microphone out of here. Yeah, don't ever be afraid to ask a question. Hold on. I can't reach it. I'm taking this off for a second. Yeah, don't ever be afraid. There's something you want to ask. These lives are never set to any one specific topic. It is always an open conversation. Everyone is welcome to join in. And feel free to ask. We're keeping it sort of workshop related type stuff, right? It's not you know what I mean. as long as your question is sort of workshop, tool, project, type, related, guitars, music, that sort of thing, never hesitate. You got a question, throw it out there. I don't care what we're talking about. But anyway, so this is my branding iron. It heats up. This is a plug-in one, electric branding iron. Heats up. We got a brass thing here. This one has my Home Built Workshop logo on there. I've got another one that has the Haley Guitars logo that you can swap this out. Right, this just unscrews. This is made out of solid brass. You just thread on the other one. The other one is, can I reach it? Yeah, so this is the Haley Guitars one. Of course it's mirrored because it's got to be mirrored. It just threads on. And then you plug in and turn on the branding iron and you wait till it heats up and then you brand your chunk of wood. It's a great way to add your logos to pretty much anything wood. Well, I've done it on leather too. It works pretty good on leather. Smells terrible on leather, but it does work good. You just don't let it get as hot. But yeah, this just got a little on-off switch here. This one came from Budget Branding Iron. I'm not sponsored or anything. I bought this from them, but that's where it came from. A lot of people have asked where I got it, and that's where it came from. But yeah, branding iron, great way to personalize your wooden items. If you make cutting boards, you just brand your logo on there. Anything. I use it for guitars. That's why I have the Haley Guitars. I brand my headstocks. And yeah, just works really good. The little thing that it's hanging on is just a piece of scrap wood with a bent horseshoe on it. And I just use that, that it leans in the horseshoe just to hold it and keep it up off the table while it's heating up, because you can't just set this on the table because it gets really hot and you'd end up burning your table. But yeah, it's my branding iron. And that's just kind of hangs there, and that's what I do with it. So there you go, Brad. Hair Dude says, fully self-employed here, have to file personal and business tax returns. Yep, same. Same. Kizzy says to Sam that sawdust will create a lot of friction and that aluminum will hold on to it, slow down your dust collector, and could cause a fire. Interesting. Time Servant says, I'm retired, not income taxes owed. You still have to file though, right? I think you do. I'm not quite there yet, but... Sam says to Kizzy, they do a corrugated plastic sheeting too. That would work better. Interesting. Time Servant says, good point, Kizzy. Yeah, that's true. Aluminum will hold on to it. Yeah. I mean, I still like the idea. I still think it's an incredible idea, and there's something there. It's easy to ground. You could ground it. It's no big deal. Brad. Bam. Jimmer says, no Wasiki branding iron? No, I mean, I don't have one, but you could get your own and brand. Now, this same place also offers one that's not electric. You don't have to get the electric one. You could just, get one that you have to heat with a torch. But yeah, they work really good. Sam says, YouTube are really aggressive now with the advertising, including just the chat section. Interesting. Time Servant says, nope, not me. No income that can be taxed. Interesting. I didn't know that. Robert says, I noticed more ads in the stream today. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they keep changing stuff. Kizzy says to Sam, even with the plastic, that static electricity from the friction needs somewhere to go. I would almost think you might get more static with plastic. I could be wrong. I could be way off on that, but it just seems to be where my head is going on that. But again, Sam, you got to investigate that idea, because I totally believe there's something there. So, anyway, cool. Yeah. So anyway, guys, that's about gonna wrap it up for today. Unless you have any other questions, comments, suggestions, I'm gonna get to doing some filming. I think I'm gonna film workshop drill press hack, productivity time saver hack. There you go. I'm going to start filming that, and it's super simple and and it's amazing. I've been doing this. I'm not giving it away. Some of you already know. But I've had this on my drill press for quite a long time, for years, and it's incredible. And I've mentioned it a time or two, I think. We're just going to do a video on it. That's a teaser. Is that what we call a teaser? So anyway, Time Turner says, put a good ground wire on it. Yeah, why not? Robert says, maybe you need to put a grounding strip on the dust collector you've been talking about. Yeah, I mean, it's not, what's it going to hurt? It ain't going to hurt a thing. Put a ground on there, call it good, and move on. But yeah, I think it's an awesome idea. I think it's super cool. Heritage says, whenever I hear the word hack, I expect to see hot glue. Oh, I'm going to have to put hot glue in there. I don't know. The only reason I said hack is because I was researching titles. Like trying to come up with titles for this video, and hack. I don't know if I'll use the word hack or not, but anyway, I might have to put hot glue in there just for you. There's no hot glue. Sam says, thank you for the fantastic stream today. Jeffafa. Dallos, have a great week, everyone. Brad says, have a great week all. Robert says, stay safe and healthy. Have a good one. Right on, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to hang out with you, even if only through the interwebs. Feels like, to me, it almost feels like we are just hanging out on the patio, having a beverage of some sort. So I appreciate all of you taking some time, hanging out here at the shop. Stay tuned for the video coming out this weekend. It's all scheduled, ready to go. And then I'm going to get back to work on a few other projects. I got the productivity thing. I got the drill. I lost my train of thought. Sandpaper storage thing. Lots of stuff. So anyways, you guys, I hope you get some time to get out, work on your projects, have a good time, stay safe, stay well, build some cool stuff. And I want to hear about it next week. So anyway, thank you all. I appreciate each and every one of you. Robert says, stay safe. Have a good one. Drizzy says, cheers. Time Serpent says, enjoy the next 24 hours of your life, or have a nice day. I like that. Sam, be safe. Kizzy, bye. Thanks, everyone. Harry, dude, stay well, folks. Catch you next week. You guys, thank you so much. Have an awesome week. Hope you get some time to go outside, do some stuff. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. We're out of here. I got to get to work. Later, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. We're done. I just got to hit the button. It's not as tricky as last time. Later, everybody.